Hello everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Friday everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the most, I would say, the most loved training session. This is Roberta Alberton, Sales Manager for Italy and Spain, and welcome to our product masterclass. So I will wait just a couple of minutes to be sure that everyone is aware that we have a translation today. So you can use the link that is in the chat. Thank you, parties, for sharing the link. You can use this link for listening this training in your native language, and of course enjoy your time with us. Okay, nice. I believe we can start shortly. Just to remind that today's topic is Healy World pioneering the forefront of frequencies, and of course to talk about this very important and I also would say fascinating topic. We have, of course, our best expert. He knows everything, I would say, about this topic, about the frequencies, and is, of course, our best expert also for our devices. And I would like to introduce you our Chief Product Officer, Martin Whitman. Hey, Martin, are you
Hello.
there?
Yes, how are you?
I'm great. Thank
Very good.
you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. And so we can start, and then maybe if we have some time at the end, we can also reply to some questions.
Very good. Okay, then let's start immediately because we have really some ground to cover. So I will share my screen, and today, of course, the main topic is certifications and patents and studies, and also a little background on how the resonance sensor works, and also the combination of time weaver knowledge and Healy. So let's dive into it. So I want to start with the patents. So as you know, we have a patent for McKeely in Europe, USA, and I think a few other countries. And that's basically for the physical noise source that we have. And of course, we have a very similar physical noise source in the Healy. But of course, the time when Marcus brought the time weaver devices into this world, he didn't think about patents and things like that because it's a lot of effort to get a patent, to hold the patent, to pay it, and so on. So he wanted to really give the world a new technology, and that's what he did. But afterwards we said, okay, now we have more resources. Let's see if we can patent our resonance sensor. And of course, we have also the patented technology in Healy, and that's the smartphone connection, so the Bluetooth connection. And this is a very, very secure connection at the end of the day. So when you increase your intensity in the Healy device, it's that you have to wait a little. And why do you have to wait a little? Because the device basically, so your smartphone sends something to the Healy. The Healy increases the intensity, checks if it's increased, uh, sends it back to the smartphone that it is increased, and then you can increase again. So why do you do that? Because if there's an error in this connection, or would be an error, it could be that you go from 0 to 100 in one click. And this is, of course, not very healthy, especially if you use ear electrodes or something like that. It can be quite yeah, unpleasant for a second. And that is so secure, this connection, that you also could run an insulin pump with this. So really, really nice technology. So what is the resonance sensor about? So usually or originally we called it quantum sensor. Why did we call it quantum sensor? Because we're using a quantum effects or quantum events at the end of the day. So in the meantime, actually, there are quantum sensors which are measuring small magnetic fields, what we don't use. So we renamed it to resonance sensor because it's basically reflects more what we actually are doing with the technology and not what is actually there for measuring small fields. So what is the background of our resonance sensor? So it's a physical noise generator. What does that mean? So noise generators usually create random numbers, which is so the next number you get is completely random. So you cannot calculate it, you cannot foresee it, nothing. It's impossible. It's completely random. But how do we get it? And that's with such a PN junction, for example. And if you look at this in a little in detail, then you will find that there's thermal noise. And this thermal noise, there was the question, to what extent is thermal noise a result of the quantum world? And the answer is 2/3. So 2/3 of the data or noise that is generated, this thermal noise, is actually or is made up of quantum events. So it's not something that you can measure, something you can calculate. It's a complete quantum effect. Now I go to a very one of my favorite slides, and that's David Bohm's implicate order. So if you were in the first training, then you already know this slide, and the other one, of course, also. So what is the background here? So it's about an orthodox quantum theory and about an unorthodox quantum theory. So the orthodox quantum theory, so that it was made up basically when the theory came out, is that you have always a particle and wave duality. So if you look at something, so you observe it, you see the particle. And if you don't observe it, it becomes a wave. And this wave function is basically everywhere. So this wave function is, in theory, in the complete universe. And if you look at it again, this whole wave function collapses, and then you have a particle again. And David Bohm said, I mean, that really doesn't fit to everything we did in physics for the last, I don't know how many 100 years. So let's think about another way to describe the same phenomena. And the way is that you have a particle, and that is you see in the right graphics, a particle that moves along a certain path. And if you, of course, observe it, again, you would see, okay, then the particle is, it arrived here, or it arrived a little later in this path, but it follows this path. And this path is nothing that is determined. So it's not something that you can measure. It's quite, let's say, random, but it is guided somehow. So, and that's what is also very important, and that's a slide I didn't put here, but I want to mention it because it's quite important. So if you, as an observer, observe something, you can change it somehow. That's what quantum theory suggests. And if you now look at, let's say, your intuition and your focused attention and your intention, and that's what we use when we do an information field analysis, we have a certain intention. So we want something, we want an answer for a certain question, or we want a frequency for a certain topic. And the moment we do that, we influence the noise generator with our consciousness, with our intention. So this path here on what where the basically particle goes, that's influenced by our intention. And now we come to the most important slide. I always say for the information field training, that's how does that actually work in practice. So in practice, it's you have your noise generator on top, and you have a bioenergetics field below. That's you and the individual information field from you or your client, or and those are all entangled. So they are quantum entangled. And since they are entangled, they are connected. So what are you actually doing? You're connecting your energy field basically with your information field with the noise generator. And you, of course, also influence the noise generator according to your information field, according to your bioenergetic field. And of course, according to the question that you want an answer for. And now you have on the left side, you have the database, which has lots of information patterns, like the Bach flowers, the Schüssler salts, and so on, or different frequencies. And what you do now, you analyze with the noise generator and your influence on the noise generator, which of those database entries or frequencies are actually the most important ones for you at this moment, for your intention that you have. So for the question that you have. So it's basically the answer to your question based on your bioenergetic field and information field, so on your current status. And that's how a resonance sensor actually works, or a noise generator, or basically how a noise generator is used in our technology to actually produce the amazing results we want. And now let's go immediately to the next part. So the other thing, of course, that Healy has, it doesn't only have this amazing technology to analyze all kind of things. No, it's also a medical device. What does that mean? It means that the Healy is actually not a cheap made in China device. It's an actually in Germany developed, in Germany produced high-tech device that actually passed all the tests, electrical safety, electromagnetic safety, and all kinds of other tests that are necessary to be a medical product. And not a medical product only in Europe, which is, I mean, one of the highest standards anyway, but also in Israel, in India, in Malaysia, in Singapore, in Indonesia, Australia, New Zealand, United States, Canada, and a few more that we removed from this map because we said, okay, we're not selling in this country, so we don't put it there. And so all those countries came to the same conclusion. Healy has the highest standard of a medical product, and it actually has also a medical effect. So at least the medical edition that we also sell. So what did we also do? We performed a PMCF study. So PMCF is post-market clinical follow-up study. And what does that mean? It's basically something that you need to do. So your notified body, so the company basically that certifies you as a medical producer for medical products. For us, for example, the Healy GmbH is certified as a medical development company, a production company, sales company. So we have this certificate, and we bring for microstimulation devices, or for stimulation devices, microcurrent stimulation devices. And we basically bring Healy as such a product into the market. And of course, we also have a clinical evaluation where we basically looked at all kinds of existing studies, not made by us, but already existing, and said, okay, we can do the same thing. And out of those clinical evaluation, there basically resulted our current indications, so that we will see later. And we performed this clinical follow-up because it's according to the certification law. And of course, because we wanted to see if it actually works, because that's always quite good to be certain that something actually works. And this, I mean, you need also to understand what a post-market clinical follow-up study is. It's definitely not a double-blinded placebo-controlled study, because that's also not the intention. The intention of such a study is to see in the market, in a normal environment. So basically, if you are using Healy as a normal user, does it actually work in this environment? And that's what the study is made up. That's a regulation that we basically followed. It's the European Medical Device Regulation. There, it's described how to do such a study. And it took 2 years to actually finish it. And we are working with a very good company that always helps us in regards to new quality management things and certification and so on, because it's of course very complex if you do this in the whole world. And there's the let's say company owner is always very rational, very not so emotional, let's put it like that. And he said, when he saw the results of the study, that's an excellent study. And then I said, okay, maybe we have really good results. And what was the study about? It was about our indications in Europe. So it's a European performed study with the indications of Europe for the Healy Medical Edition. And it's for chronic pain, pain of the musculoskeletal system, fibromyalgia, migraine, depression, and anxiety and related sleep disorders. And what were the results? The results were pretty amazing. So you see the lines on the right side, and if the lines go up, that's usually a good sign. So during the study, we had an basically increase in the health-related quality of life score. So the SF36. But what we, of course, used were different evaluation methods. So we have the FS36 with this health-related quality of life, the pain score evaluation, the mental illness assessment, assessment of anxiety and sleep quality. So for every indication, you of course need usually a different means to assess it, different questionnaires, different measures. And the study overall was 6 months, and we of course needed to prepare it properly. We needed to do the whole data collection and data crunching to actually get the results. And I think here you see a very good what was the result. And the coherence D is basically the effect size. So how effective, how good actually was the result. And you see for depression, anxiety, and sleep disturbance, it was very high, so very large effect, which is pretty good. For migraine, it was a medium effect. For fibromyalgia, it was a very large effect and even larger than for depression. And for skeletal pain, it was also almost a large effect. And for chronic pain, it was also a medium large effect, which is pretty good. And if you're wondering what those small black bars are, this is the standard deviation. So this standard deviation says, okay, how much is this, let's say, measure thing fluctuating? And if this is smaller than the bar itself, then it's actually significant. Because if it's fluctuating more than the bar would be wide, then it's not significant. And yeah, it's significant for every value, and that's pretty amazing. And yeah, that's something that I was very pleased to see, because yeah, it actually works. Then of course we also performed studies, internal studies. And 15 is an old value. This presentation is quite some time old. So we had, I think, in the meantime, we have more than 20 studies. And we also included this in the editions overview. And in the meantime, we also performed 2 double-blinded placebo-controlled studies, and they were both positive. And one was also significant. The first one, there were not enough participants, unfortunately, because it was too complex, the study. It was, you needed to perform quite some, let's say, questionnaires afterwards, and not most, but a huge amount of people dropped out and didn't do the second one because it was too demanding. So we now then reduced the complexity of this in the second study, and there it was significant. And that's a really nice, because you cannot fake a placebo-controlled study. And here's just one example, and that's the gold cycle study. That's one of our first studies, actually. And there we also used a waiting group. And as you see, let's say the quality of life went down for the waiting group because they couldn't use the Healy device. And after that, we also decided, okay, we don't do waiting groups with not allowing the people to use the device because they feel worse afterwards. So we said, okay, just use it as you want for the other studies. but don't use it with a special schedule that we basically give. And as you know, if you use Healy or Mac Healy in a special way with a special protocol, you have, of course, much better effects usually. And yeah, and there I wanted to make the leap a little to TimeWaver, because how did we come to those programs? So the gold, so the pure program, all those programs, all those almost 300 programs, how did we actually come up with those? And the answer is from the TimeWaver Therapist Network, and of course from our Holistic Health Advisory Board. So we took basically all the knowledge that the TimeWaver therapists had, or we had internally, from those therapists, and put them into those programs. So we put all the knowledge there. And of course, also those programs are based on frequencies. And that we know different frequencies have different effects. Very simple. If you open your car with your car key with let's say, a radio wave bleepers, infrared or whatever it is for your car, then your car opens, all the others don't open. So you have a special frequency just for your car. And that's also for the frequencies. You have special frequencies for different parts in your body, for different topics. And there, of course, lots of things are happening. So not only we with TimeWaver and Healy are doing lots of scientific research. No, it's done in the whole world. And of course, new things are always developed, and we have a big frequency matrix where all those things are inside. And then if we create new programs, or our holistic heal advisor board creates them, or a partner from us creates them, they use, of course, this matrix in the time wave frequency, for example, and create those programs. And then we also have a second thing that's quite remarkable, the time wave frequency. So from the time wave frequency professional device, you can create whatever program with whatever frequency and transfer it through the cloud into your Healy device in the expert page. And that's, of course, a very targeted, very individualized way to get a program that actually fits to whatever you have. And this is, of course, quite remarkable, because not everything works for everyone. We are very, very individual. We are very different. People can eat these things, other people are allergic to them. So it's a very, let's say, individual thing, what actually works and what needs to be combined to work. And for frequencies, you can combine all kinds of frequencies. And of course, this is a little more tricky than if you would do it yourself. Then a therapist comes, of course, in handy, because they have lots of knowledge about that and can, with a little luck, give you the program that you need. So I want to go to the next one, because we don't do studies only on microcurrent or frequency programs. No, we also perform this with information field applications. So this is, for example, a TimeWaver study that we did with the coaching module. And this is also pretty nice because you have different groups, and one group is coaching session with harmonization, coaching session without harmonization, and a shortened coaching session. So normally a coaching session is like you ask questions, what is your goal? Where do you see yourself in, I don't know, 5 years or something like that? And this is a process that you go through with your coachee. And at the end, you use this knowledge to give a good coaching. But you can also simply use an information feed analysis to do the same thing. And that's what you see here. So if you do a information feed analysis, a short one, and do an harmonization, this has the highest effects. So it's very quick, and that's also the beauty of it, of information feed analysis. You can do something in a very short amount of time. You get a lot of very valuable information, and you can also use it to optimize something. And that's one of the learnings I also had over the years, that this is the main USP of information feed analysis. You can get very valuable information in a very short amount of time and use it very efficiently. So yeah, and of course, this is basically a small wrap up of the whole thing. So we, of course, how did we come to this? So it's a combination of lots of qualified engineers, of physicians, and of testing personnel, and of course scientific research. So you need to bring all those four things together. Otherwise, such a product with such an ecosystem is impossible. And of course, you have also lots of programmers and IT, of course, to actually get the whole cloud system going. Otherwise, you would just have a, let's say, a more or less stupid device that can only do a few things. And of course, years of development and testing. We're working for a long time on the next generation. And if I would tell you how much money it already cost us, you would say we are crazy. But that's something you need to do. You need to invest a lot of money in actually improving things and bringing them to the next generation. I just saw a video of the head of Amazon. I mean, you might think about Amazon what you want, but they made lots of minus over the years, billions of dollars, because they invested in the future. They built a system that is so globally, remarkably, that works so good, and now they are basically unstoppable. And that's what we do. We invest in the future. So we are not trying to, oh yeah, everyone gets money and goes home and is happy. No, we are taking all this money and invest it in the new generations of Healy technology, of Healy devices, and of the Healy ecosystem, because that's also one of the next steps to actually. But this I will go on to in the next slide. Um, and of course, as I already mentioned, we have the electrical safety and so on. And this is not a one-off, actually. I always thought, okay, you do electrical safety test, that's it, then you're covered. No, there are actually changes in the regulations and in the requirements for this electrical safety. So we did just recently a few extra tests that are now required according to the newest regulation for medical devices. And of course, we passed them, but you see, that's not something that just comes from itself. It's really something you really need to be there all the time. Look, what is the requirement, adapt to the requirement, and so on and so on. And what is also, yeah, and of course, it's a continuous investment because of that. Also in the software, because software, when people say, and that's what one of our former CFOs always asked me. It's like, yeah, when is it finished? When is the app finished? So we pay something and then it's finished, and then I never hear of it again. And I said, yeah, an app is never finished. If you want to have an app in the market, it will never finish. You always have some updates, something you need to introduce, something you need to update, and. So it's always a continuous improvement process that's really never stopping. Then there's an update from Apple, there's an update from Google, and so on. So you always need to be on your toes to actually fulfill those requirements. And you always have costs, and server costs of course also. And of course, what we are really proud of, and I'm personally proud of, is the Healy Academy, because we really try to get all the information, all the knowledge, all the training in the academy, that it's there for everyone. And yeah, what I already mentioned is the randomized double-blinded controlled studies that we did. And yeah, and of course, we are also working on a digital health app, and maybe not in the first run in the DIGA app, but the principle of a DIGA app. That's what we are currently actually executing on, and I'm really looking forward to bring it out and to see what actually is the response of you at the end of the day. And of course, I wanted to bring the point I had in the last slide, that we want to connect, of course, also the therapist world and the Healy end user world even stronger. So with Christian Halpern as a CEO, we are actually able to do that now. So we advance the already existing Healy ecosystem with the TimeWeaver ecosystem. That's something that will not happen in a short amount of time, but when it is then basically in place, it will be really, really, really nice because there we have an ecosystem that actually can help everyone very individual and very globally in seconds or minutes. And that's something that I think only a few. I don't think there's even one other company that could claim this. So and of course, we have basic research that we also do. So we really see, okay, we do very, very basic measurements to actually get also the groundwork done on a scientific basics. And of course, with those Diga app-like apps, I think we can have a very broad cooperation with universities because we can address lots of different things at the same time. And that's, I think, about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martin. So I have invited all our members to drop any questions if they have in the chat. So please, if you would like any clarification, if you have any question, you would like to ask any kind of curiosity, Martin is here to reply to you for this topic today. So I saw that everyone is very grateful. A lot of arts for you, Martin. It's
Thank
always a
you.
pleasure to follow to you. So Martina, she is asking in the chat, who is the test group? Are they Healy members?
Usually, most of them are. So the test group is always, of course, determined quite, let's say, randomly. So we basically send out an invite, and then who comes first serves is served first. So there we always pick, of course, the most interested ones that are usually the first that answer, and 90% of our studies are filled immediately. so so we are not having to wait long to fill those studies, but of course it's also demanding. And if you ever participate in a study, please also follow the study protocol because this gives us the results we have. Otherwise, of course, if people are not following the study protocol, we need to eliminate them. And then if you go below a certain threshold of participants, then it's not significant anymore. Then we need to redo the study, and that's of course not the idea. So, but usually it works quite well. So thank you also for all those who actually participated in our studies. So we are really grateful that you do that because it actually gives us a very good means to improve our products. And that's, I think, at the end of the day, the most important thing. So we need a product that actually serves the customer. And if we don't have that, we need to improve it. And that's something that I think is, yeah, also differs, I think, or makes us different from many other companies that are just selling something to get some money. We actually also want to change something.
Thank you, Martin. There are then other questions, but I believe they are not related to this topic of today. There are a lot of questions. I don't know if you have any time.
Yeah, I mean, the last one
Ma-
is quite interesting because the certification is outdated. Yeah, and the
yeah,
reason
yeah.
is because the notified bodies are pretty overwhelmed. So I have a weekly call now with our notified body and ask them, yeah, when will our certificates come? Yeah, now it's in the assessment center, and I asked the chief of the assessment center, and now he said something is missing, and they send it back to the auditor, and he has to do something, and then it comes back to the assessment center. So it's really a hassle. And the reason for this is, of course, the MDR, so the medical device regulation that was introduced in the European Union, which is, let's say, a step back, because in the past it was the FDA was like, yeah, it's really rigid system, really you have to do so many things. It's no let's say common sense there. It's just do this, do this, do this. It's for dummies basically. But now the FDA system is like very easy compared to the European system now, to the medical device regulation, because it's so over-regulated that even the notified bodies cannot do all the workload. Many products, medical products in Europe are stopped selling because it doesn't make sense to make the effort to bring it to the MDR standard, because it's so much invest in so much things. So, for example, that's also the CEO of the company that does the medical certification. He said there are medical products, they are in the market for 20 years, and now they are on MDR. They took the whole documentation, everything, updated to the MDR, and now they have 10 major deviations, 10 major non-conformities. So, which would mean that the last 20 years there was a product in the market that is completely out of whack. And that's really crazy. So you see how much bureaucracy is now in there. So they are hiring people like crazy, but they still cannot perform the simplest tasks in time. So really sad, but yeah, we are on it.
Thank you very much, Martin. Thank you, because in this way you have replied a lot of questions about certifications.
Yeah. But now we have a letter from them that they are too slow. So to send it out to someone, but of course that's also not yeah, very convenient. Let's put it like that. Okay, I think if there are no other questions, then yeah,
Yeah, I believe not other questions related to today training. So thank you very much once again, Martin, for your time, for sharing your knowledge and expertise. And I invite everyone to take a look to our EMEA calendar, because of course also in April there will be another training, another masterclass with Martin Whitman. Thank you very much, Martin. Thank you very much to all the members that have attended today, and see you soon to everyone. Have a nice weekend.
have a nice weekend. Bye bye.
Bye.